When he moved to Montreal in 2009 to open his bakery, 42-year-old de Gaulle had a very different idea of Canada. French of Lebanese origin, de Gaulle could not have imagined that his croissants would attract attention far beyond the culinary crowd. He never thought he would need to invest in protective clothing to run his bakery.
What's that for?
That's my bulletproof vest. When I leave the business or when I see suspicious people on the street, I always put it on and I put my jacket on over it, along with my beeper to alert the police.
A bulletproof vest and a bodyguard 24/7. That was de Gaulle's response to the violent assault he suffered in 2010. That was for refusing to pay the pizzo, the so-called protection money extorted by the Montreal Mafia.
That's the assault in April 2010. I was hit on the head, there. It was with a metal bar. I could feel the blood. I was just thinking about my children at that point, only about my children.
His assailants did not stop there. Less than a year later, they turned on his store.
This is in 2011. There he's lighting the Molotov cocktail. They tried to burn down the store because I continued to refuse to pay $2,500 per week.
Neither the arrest of the perpetrators, who are now in jail, nor messages of support from his neighbors have reassured de Gaulle. He now plans to close up shop. The Mafia has been operating in Montreal for years, but their presence is only becoming general knowledge now. An inquiry into corruption of public works has shone a light on the Mafia's maneuvers, and an anti-Mafia commission has now been set up. Sicilian-born Lino Zambito, a former contractor, was one of the first to come before the board.
I was not an angel. I rigged contracts. I financed political parties. I bribed public officials. But the system was such that if I wanted to work, whether in Laval, Montreal, on the North Shore, for the ministry, I had no choice.
The former construction company boss tells of secret meetings between entrepreneurs and Mafia, where they divvied up public contracts. But unbeknownst to them, the police captured it all.
Here we have Mr. Zambito returning to the room.
It was a call for tender where 5 private contractors had been pre-selected.
Welcome to Enquête. The role of the Mafia is in the news now more than ever, with the testimonies we have heard at the Charbonneau Commission.
An investigative reporter, as well as a presenter, Alain Gravel was one of the first to reveal the stranglehold the Mafia has over public works in Montreal. He interviewed Zambito long before the Anti-Mafia Commission ever existed.
He gave us a first interview, saying, "Look, I've been accused. I'm on trial soon. I risk being convicted. I might go to jail, but I will not be the only one to fall."
Zambito also described meetings at a bar called Consenza, a bar known to belong to the Montreal Mafia. It was here that bosses from various construction companies came to hand over a percentage of every contract they had won. Money that was passed to Mafia godfather Niccolo Rizzuto, who stashed the money in his socks. Contractors who did not comply with the Mafia's rules received threatening phone calls.
Who are you?
The guy that's going to make you eat out of a straw for 6 months if you don't go pay him.
I beg your pardon?
You hear me? I know you have me on tape. Don't worry about it. Just go pay the bill, okay? And I'm not going to come and tell you again. The next time I break your head. Okay? You clown. Don't laugh at me.
Lino Zambito's testimony was greeted with praise from the public, who commended him for speaking out.
What's that?
This is a cartoon I was given as a gift. It's a cartoon that was published when I was at the commission. You see me with sticks of dynamite trying to blow up the statue of former Prime Minister Jean Charest.
This will go that far? As far as the former Prime Minister?
I think as the investigation progresses, the higher up it will go.
Turning to a different source of dough, Lino Zambito opened a restaurant in a Montreal suburb.
The pizza here is better than in Italy.
A return to his roots for this businessman who says he does not fear future retaliation.
I don't feel like I'm repenting or that I'm an informant. I feel like a citizen who has done his duty. Contractors wanted a bit more all the time. Officials and politicians too. So at some point the rules are in place, but we always try to find ways around them.
Whenever he can, Zambito catches up on the latest developments at the commission hearings. He knows all the witnesses who take the stand. Former colleagues, competitors, city officials. Before the judges, witnesses, under police protection, recount their fears, their humiliation, and the terrifying rules of the Mafia.
He told me, "You know, Martin, that my sidewalk foundation is very thick and deep." I didn't understand what he meant at the time. I told him, "Excuse me, Mr. Miliotto, can you tell me what you mean?" At this point, he said, "You don't want to find yourself in my sidewalk foundation."
Faudrait pas que tu te retrouves dans mes fondations de trottoir.
Judges have discovered a number of different players, including Mr. 3%, aka Gilles Surprenant, a high-ranking engineer working for Montreal City Hall, who took a percentage from every contract.
I may have received around $580,000 to $600,000.
In cash?
At this cafe in the heart of the city, real-life scenes and testimonies reminiscent of the film The Godfather have customers captivated.
It's huge. We didn't realize quite how huge. Really, we've been had from every angle.
Over the course of the commission, news channels have doubled their daytime audiences.
We're finding out where our money went and how it was snatched away from places that really needed it. That's what infuriates me.
Nicknamed Mayor Courage, Chantal Rouleau was the first elected official to denounce the stranglehold of the Mafia on every new construction site in her city.
This is a new neighborhood and a really beautiful area, beautiful homes. 500 to 600 new families have come to live here.
It's a typical case of corruption. Without any justification, the land worth $7 million was sold to a developer for 1/5 of that price.
Furious. I'm furious. Because imagine if these people, these new families, are paying a mortgage over 20 years. They're actually paying a mortgage on corruption.
Today, Rouleau has been invited to speak on the radio show that boasts the highest ratings in all of Quebec.
It's 22 minutes past 9. Now, seeing witnesses parading before the Charbonneau Commission is like watching something out of a movie. Chantal Rouleau is the mayor of the borough Rivière des Prairies, Pointe-aux-Trembles. Now, there were threats made to public servants working in your district or to you directly.
It makes me afraid to speak, except that I must. It must be said, we must condemn this situation. It can't carry on like this. It's unbelievable.
Working on the opposition benches at Montreal City Hall, Chantal Rouleau wants to be seen as a politician who is cracking down on corruption. At this time, Rouleau hopes to topple the mayor Gérald Tremblay, who has been in power for 11 years.
People are so disenchanted with the situation that they say, why should I go vote? They must be convinced to come and vote.
Rouleau was given a helping hand by Martin Dumont, the mayor's former political advisor who tells judges about a meeting with the mayor where the discussions included political financing of his party by the Mafia.
At this point, Montreal Mayor Gérald Tremblay stood up and said, "I don't have to know that." He got up and closed the door.
A few days after Dumont's testimony, the mayor resigns.
I'm going through a period of unbearable injustice. I never thought I'd live through such unrelenting attacks in a society under the rule of law. I am leaving politics.
Je quitte la vie publique.
It's the collusion, the corruption that caused Gérald Tremblay to leave. He wanted to go on. The situation became unbearable. Most major outlets were calling for him to step down.
Soon after the mayor resigned, corruption accusations appeared in Quebec's third largest city, Laval. The mayor was accused of embezzling millions of dollars. Now the investigation has grown to include members of Quebec's former government.
There are names of former ministers and former governments going around. We know when and where the commission began, but we do not know when it will end and just how far it will go. But it will likely go very far. We are only at the beginning.
For de Gaulle, even if the light has been shone on the Mafia's dealings, it remains far too powerful.
Does that calm you down?
A great deal. I didn't think there would be the Mafia here. When you don't live here, you wouldn't imagine the Mafia could be here. But once you arrive and live here, you discover many things and many disappointments.
Since the corruption scandal broke, more than 30 people have been arrested. But the baker remains pessimistic about his future and is considering returning to France. There he can make his croissants without needing the constant protection of a bodyguard.